painting smooth surfaces. Surfaces are just many colors, values, layered on top of one another. They're just lots of colors and shapes. It's just super subtle. So the combination of all of them together is what makes up the illusion of an ultra smooth, touchable looking surface, like the petal of a rose, for instance. You just have to look very carefully. It doesn't mean strain. In fact, it's the opposite. You wouldn't want to strain your eyes by focusing, hyper-focusing. You actually need to just kind of soften your gaze and kind of use the tip of your paintbrush to explore what you're seeing, what it is you're seeing in this landscape of the surface of a rose petal. If you went in with a microscope, you'd see all kinds of things. So it's similar. You just tune in and let it reveal what's there, and not even so much what's there as what it wants to reveal to you, or what the process wants to reveal for you in this session. When I paint, say for instance, when I get up in the morning and I come into my studio to work, I see new things all the time. And if I don't, I know that I'm not fresh, I'm not rested. So you need to know that making a painting is not like baking a cake. It's not like that. It's an exploration. If you want it to be like that, it can be. But this is how I work. And there's so much more that comes about when you are free to explore and have a dialogue with your subject matter. It's alive because you're alive. And this idea of meditation being something super specific, like a technique that may have been used for thousands of years, is just a very different thing, okay? Painting is something you focus your attention very acutely for. Even if you're doing loose work, you're using the one point of your attention to really hone in on what it is you're wanting to create, what it is you're seeing in your mind's eye, in the world. There's a wide expanse. Actually, there's an infinite expanse because you are an infinite expanse and you're the one who's looking and giving the experience of what it is that you're seeing and, to your viewers, those who ultimately see your work. There's, there's the iconic idea, or let's say there's the iconic picture of a rose, right? And everybody knows what that is. It's an icon, that word, it's become so popular with the advent of computer lingo, an icon is something everybody recognizes. I mean, we knew that before, but now it's even more so. So icons are like known as pictures that everybody recognizes, kind of like a pictogram, kind of. You know, it communicates something. It's really what it is it's an idea. And it links to the idea of what the thing is. But if you aren't awake, you substitute the idea for the thing and you miss the entire experience of the rose or whatever that icon represents. You want to get away from the representation of an idea to the experience of form. The experience of the form. Because even though I'm working from a photograph, the form is critical. The form has all the information and can key you in at any point. It's a holographic fractal universe. So this is you tune in. That's how people who can do psychometry pick up somebody's whatever piece of jewelry or to just tune into them. And they know a lot of things, or they seem to know a lot of things about the person. It's because that one point of reference can tune you into a great deal of information. It's a huge subject. So with the rose, you look at the form, if it's a photograph, and I recommend that people work from life first, always, or let's say in tandem with whatever it is you're doing. You really need to draw from life. Look at, live flowers, roses, people, whatever it is you're wanting to work on, paint, and draw, because you'll learn a lot from that. That's how I started. And you don't have to do it that way, but there's no... You can work from photographs, but you have to be able to tune into the form. That's the critical part. And a lot of times if you work from photographs first, you're not as familiar with the form in real life. So work with a real rose and you'll be busy because there's so much for it to show you. This is about becoming one with another live species of being. When you tune into the form of a flower, you're not invading anybody's space. You can go as far as you want. It connects to everything in the world. Everything is connected, and in nature, that's highly evident. Though, as a culture, we haven't paid enough attention to that. This kind of work can help you to just really embody those connections more fully. So, it's not about the icon of the rose, it's about the experience of form in space, and that's really less about making a picture of a rose or anything else. Whatever you rest your attention on, it's a very powerful thing. If you rest your attention, especially if you're really focused, you're going to learn a lot about that subject. When I say learn, I mean, in this case, I woke up this morning and I saw so much more than I did yesterday. And I thought, oh wow, this is great. Before I even had breakfast, I was at my desk working on this piece, and I noticed that the thing that I would do, perhaps another version of Raindrops on Roses, would be painting a surface, smooth surface. What does it mean to be? How do you paint a smooth surface? How do you paint like the petal of a rose or an iris? How do you represent that? It's not obviously just one smooth gradation. You could try that, and that would be iconic. That would not be the experience of of that gradation. It would be different. So like what I'm doing today is working on the smooth petal. And if you watch long enough, you'll see what that's made up of. It's not the thing you think. It's a lot of different colors and shapes and tones. There's yellow, there's purple, there's light and dark. And you have to be able to distinguish between all of that, constantly going back and forth and asking yourself, what am I seeing? What is it that I'm seeing? Is this blue? Is this purple? Is this dark? Is this light? How light is this? How dark is this? Like that. And how much paint on the tip of my paintbrush will give me the effect that I want. Do I want it to be light, like this little tiny bit of purple that I'm putting on this slight groove in the petal right here? And you'll notice that the paint soaks right in. Paint soaks right in and starts to make striations and differentiation in the color. You see, you get the skill after a while to be able to move it around, put the paint down before it soaks in and makes, you know, what everybody's so afraid of, makes an indelible mark, meaning it won't come off. You've made your commitment, that's it. You're stuck. You're never really stuck, you know. And that's one of the reasons I advocate for you to work with a very light, sheer paint. And watercolor is perfect for it. Now, I can do this in oil and I can also do it in acrylic, but this is actually I like this better for a lot of reasons. I won't go too much into that. Maybe I'll do a demo with oil and acrylic. But you're just laying down pigment. The pigment is the tracks of your wanderings and wonderings and curiosity about the form. So you get to know not just your photograph, but you get to know the form of the rose. And then I compare this to that, to this, to this. You have to do constant comparison in your mind to see what needs attention and how it needs attention. Like, okay, this compared to that needs like more purple, putting some purple in here. There's yellow, so I want to make sure I leave white of the paper so that I can put some yellow tint in there and not lose that opportunity by putting purple in there first, which is obviously a darker color. You get these skills after a while. It's not like, so you'll make a lot of mistakes at first, so you'd want to do this more than once. I'm kind of well known for being persistent. So I would do this a long time ago. I would just do the same painting over and over again, and it wasn't exactly the same, but every time I did, I'd learn so much. So don't get discouraged. It's not like you have to paint a masterpiece first time around. You can aim for it, and you should always aim for it, but not in a competitive way. You should just let the paper reveal, like Michelangelo let the marble reveal what was inside his mind, what was inside the mind of that block of marble. In a way, I'm doing something similar where I'm letting things reveal. So I'm putting purple where I want a cool color, and I'm putting yellow in this case where I want a warm color, and I'm leaving room. See, like this is lighter over here, and I'm leaving room so that I'm working with both dark and light ideas so that I don't fill it in. You don't want to fill something in. That's the immediate impulse of artists who are beginning, is you want to fill it in and you want to finish it, or you want to make a lollipop rose, you know, like icon. And there's nothing wrong with that, okay? But it's not what I'm showing you how to do. I'm showing you how to go about, you know, many steps deeper into the process of creating art. And then looking at the difference between the values that lay next to one another. Is this compared to that, this beautiful juxtaposition going on here, and it's just perfect to like lift the rose petals right off the page. That's what happens when I pay attention to these kind of details. So this, and some more burnt sienna is one of the colors I'm working with, Italian burnt sienna, Daniel Smith. This is one of the main components of this piece. Let's see. And then I have a whole bunch of yellows. But you don't have to have a lot of color. Really, at first, you just have to be able to identify value and cool and warm, that kind of thing. So like right here, this is more like the sienna. And then right next to it, I have an opportunity to put some bright yellow. It's not so like giantly bright, but it's definitely different. There's a difference here. So I'm using a number 8 paintbrush, which you would think is big, but it's not. It's got a nice point to it, so it works perfectly. Now my attention is drawn to another area where there's some purple, which I want to grab. Here. I see this now. I didn't see it before. So you just get drawn to all these different areas. You don't have to work on like one single area and you know, like hound yourself to like finish one single area or focus on that area. You really just need to move around because it reveals while you're moving. Your eyes get tired of looking at the same thing, meaning you get blind to it. Your mind, your thinking mind fills it in. Oh, I'm seeing this, and then you forget. You don't have the experience. There's a big difference between experiencing and thinking. They're totally different. Begin to distinguish things like very, very, like this purple has a little bit of yellow in it, and And you can start to see that more because you're doing this wonderful thing called comparisons. And this is really the, one of the best places to use your comparing mind. Not, not that way where we compare ourselves to different things, but here you're comparing color to color, the light and dark values, like how dark is this compared to that, how light is this compared to that, like that kind of comparison. It's a very good skill to learn, and it overflows into life, which is great because it gives you the kind of this almost the stamina to compare one thing with another and get clearer on certain properties of things. That's really one of the cool things. It's a side effect, if you want to. So that's a little bit about how I work it.